Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Breath of Fiction. Today we're going to be talking about, well, first off, this is Dan, also known as DCC Rules.
And I'm Radic, or otherwise known as Stressed is Desserts.
This is Sparta 789, also known as Sparta.
I'm Getsnicked, also known as Gajima.
Number one Gajima.
Bro. Number one Gajima, bro.
She was number one.
Yome's biggest simp, don't worry.
Yeah.
I mean, there are bigger ones.
Today we're going to be talking about Kimetsu no Yaiba crossed with Zelda, and I'm sorry for yawning. I've had a very rough week.
Yeah, it's okay. Take care of yourself, DCC.
Yeah, there'll be time for that.
Fine.
I mean, if anything, we can talk off recording. But let's stick to the Zelda versus... Because, again, we do not have the luxury of Callie with us today. Again, a recurring theme, it seems to be.
Oh my god.
No, that wasn't slewing Callie. It was quite frankly that the universe seems to be telling us we have to stay on topic and we have to learn to do without Callie.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyone's wondering why my week's been so rough, just check my Twitter. Anyway, so The Legend of Zelda is a very malleable series. You know, they have a few consistent races, consistent enemies, consistent themes. But really, for a Zelda AU or a Zelda game, oh hey Kitty, how's it going? There's three main roles that are the most critical. That's your hero, your princess, and your bad guy, your evil. Usually, a combination of Demise, who is reincarnated to the Demon Lord,
aka Ganon or Ganondorf. Ganon, whichever one.
Ganon.
And I'm gonna start it off right now. I hope this becomes a meme. Muzendorf.
Muzan is a dwarf. What?
No.
Muzan?
The Gerudo King, Muzendorf.
Muzendorf.
So does that mean the analog of Ganon to Ganondorf is, so if it's Muzendorf, that means it's just Muzan when he turns into that giant ferocious boar creature.
Pound.
Yes. Except I guess it would be, either a baby or, some like wit creature.
No, not a baby. Muzan is a dwarf. Just make him a dwarf. That's it. He becomes even more powerful when he loses size.
I can't hit him. He's too small. Smash, smash, smash.
Like every Smash Bros. Against Pichu player ever.
Haha, you'll never defeat me. I am the great Muzan.
Oh,
Great.
man.
Now I'm like, we represent the demon pop.
And I will make you the greatest in all of Corridor.
Wait, so Tanjiro is the main character. Are we going to say that he is Link?
Yes.
Yeah, well, of course, absolutely.
Or should we say that Nezuko is Link because she already doesn't speak? She just goes,
Well, I mean, there is Link technically does speak. It's just that we don't see it in the games because it's always through choosing answer to text. So it's not necessarily the same thing. It's just a mechanic of the games, really.
I do like the idea of Tanjiro just rolling around. Yeah.
It's like Maggie from The Simpsons. She talks, but just not on screen.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Well, there was that one time where Maggie talked on screen.
The one time.
Yeah. Anyway, so next we need our princess.
Nezuko or Kano? Kano
yeah,
would
I was
be
gonna
good.
say.
That's Kano, absolutely.
It works better for all the Zell-Link shippers.
Okay, I got something. The premise of the entire Zelda series is that technically each incarnation of Link in Zelda may not necessarily be the Link in Zelda, as it is more of a Ganondorf being the same guy reincarnated after multiple eras, right? So why do we just have to let Tanjiro be the only Link? Why can't we just have say Breath of the Sun uses our Link, and then in this particular iteration we are letting Tanjiro do it, whereas in previous iterations it could have been Yorichi for all that matters.
Well, I was
Okay.
gonna actually say something similar to that because have you guys played Twilight Princess?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you know where I'm going with this?
Yes, I think I do, but just to be safe, you say it first.
The hero's shade.
Okay, so we were going on the same track then. Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In Twilight Princess, one character you meet is known as the hero shade. It's the character that teaches you advanced sword techniques. Well, the hero shade is confirmed in game to be the same Link from Ocarina of Time. So we could say a similar situation where Tanjiro can learn from the spirit of Yorichi, who, for similar reasons, might be hanging around because, listen, no one says Link can't have siblings. Look at Wind Waker. So, maybe Kokushibo was his sibling. Maybe he was a very strong knight, and maybe Kokushibo still killed him in battle, and it left him with regrets. So his spirit lingers on.
Okay, that sounds pretty good, if anything. So let's see. He's Yorichi. So then, what else now? All right. So then, what do we want to think that? Are we doing the same thing for the Zeldas then? Because then that would mean the previous Zelda was Uta instead of Yorichi. The whole linking
I
thing.
could see that, yeah. I could see that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So then we've moved on. We've established the core of that.
Wait a second, that gives me a thought. Because, Uta and Yorichi do have a child. If Uta was, essentially a Princess Zelda, then she would have to be a direct ancestor to Kanao. Kanao in canon is an orphan. What if in a generation or two ago, the kingdom fell and the princess was orphaned? So, Kanao may not even be known to be the princess yet.
Okay. That would certainly fit within it. I can tell you that. So, why not? Let's roll with it.
One thought I did have though that I liked, is kind of keeping the Kamaboko squad together for a bit. I want to have that together. Zenitsu, I feel, is normal enough that he can just be, another Hylian soldier, like Tanjiro would be, because usually that's the kind of realm that Link starts in. But I feel like Inosuke has to be a little different.
Okay. I know. I was just gonna suggest that in Twilight Princess, when Link goes full wolf, that's just like an alter ego of Tanjiro Inosuke as a wolf. Just because he gets to be the beast he never was, or something like that.
That's one thought. I was thinking, what if Inosuke was raised by a different race? But he's still Hylian, so he's allowed to join the Hylian Knights, but he doesn't think he's Hylian.
Oh, that can make sense.
Yeah. Very similar to canon. The question then becomes, what race do you think from Zelda lore would most fit Inosuke?
Well, we have Inosuke's hot-bloodedness, ability to be flexible, connected with the crawling into the dirt and crawling around in dark tunnels. I wonder what race that could be.
Well, for those who aren't familiar with Zelda, the main races are the Hylians, who are kind of like people but with elf ears. The Korok, who can also be the Kokiri, depending on what you do. They're essentially the same thing. They're forest spirits. The Kokiri version are more humanoid, while the Korok are more wood idol things. You have the Zora, who are the fish people, the Rito, who are the bird people. You have the Sheikah, who are similar to Hylians, but are defined as a separate race. They have a strong technological and ninja based culture. You have the Gerudos, who are the desert dwelling bandits. Uh, and then you have the Gorons, who are the badass rock people.
Mm.
And then you have in Twilight Princess the beings from beyond the Twilight Realm.
Right. The Twilight Realm. I completely forgot about the Twilight, even though I mentioned Twilight Princess. I'm an idiot. We should keep that in mind. There might be some interesting characters to make Twilight.
I think that'd be good. I had some ideas. I mean, I know we made like the Ganon the I rather Ganondorf the equivalent of Muzan, but then again, we also see that Ganondorf doesn't just innately ally himself with only Gerudo in the Zelda games anyway. So like it's
Yeah.
and at the end of Twilight Princess, even though we're fighting against the Twilight for how many hours of gameplay we're playing, we still end up having to fight a very powerful Ganondorf. So who's to say that we
Yeah.
can't mix and match races here?
Oh, absolutely. And I even had some ideas of, fun ways to do that. Because one of the big themes of, Ganon and Ganondorf is they're corruptors. They have corrupted people before and they'll do it again. They have dark magic and they work with demons and they've turned characters into evil characters.
That's true. That is very true.
So one thing I was thinking is, Akaza, I feel like he fits perfectly as a human or a Hylian character. He's an amazing fighter. So, and let me ask you this: if you had the best fighter in the kingdom, what kind of position would you put them in?
When you say best fighter, you mean like you would want them on the front lines because let's put it this way: he's not the highest ranking. I mean, when you have a good fighter, you don't want to keep him busy with desk work now, do you? You want a strategist for that.
Well, I was thinking, especially in the Hylian, realm, they would make a great bodyguard for, the royals. And that's the position Link often fills. It's often the position that one takes when they become like that leads them to becoming, something like the legendary hero. We see this, most strongly in Breath of the Wild and a few of the other games.
I mean, there's some of the older games. There's a little bit like during the old RPG days, which are 2 bits as well.
CD.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, I mean,
So
I
what I
played
was
those as a kid.
Wait, you did? Oh my god.
I watched someone play bits and pieces of the CDI games, and oh man, that was rough.
Zelda?
And
Kano? Wait, wait. Who's King Harkinian?
Well, that's a good question. Who do you want to be the king? It doesn't necessarily have to be anyone related to Kanao, because if we establish that the kingdom went through an upheaval, well then there could be new royals who kind of take over.
Kagaya?
Kaguya, that I didn't even think about that. Kaguya would make a perfect king,
I
which could
know.
um one of his daughters into an awkward position of this is the person who's supposed to be Hylia, even though she doesn't have the blood.
Alright, Queen Hinaki, Nichika, or Kanata, which daughter?
I
huh?
don't know. I didn't never names.
What?
I never learned their names.
Yeah.
You never learned it? Aw.
Yeah, I only learned Kyria.
Only
Actually,
Kyria.
Oh, you mean? Oh, we're talking about. Okay, never mind. I know. Like Kanata, Queen, Ku.
Kanata, Queen Nichika, Hinaki.
Yeah, that's it. And then Kiri as the son, the sole son.
Yeah.
But I think what I would start off with is, you have Akaza. He's the person people think is going to be Link.
Mm-hmm.
One of the ways you could start off the story is having him sent with some of the, you know, better knights. He gets to choose his own squad, so he picks some of the best swordsmen, some of the best fighters, which would include our Kamaboko squadron. and they go to try and get the Master Sword because they see a resurgence of evil. Of course, Kaza is not the chosen hero. So when he goes to take the Master Sword, he can't lift it. And he gets into a bad fight. So, you have all three of these kids running to get it, and Tanjiro's the one who pulls it and saves Akaza's life.
Okay, so then how does Akaza take that? Like, I would assume that he wouldn't take that very well, being Akaza and being stronger than anything.
Exactly.
But does that create like a life debt thing that's going to come into play later, unless they forget, of course.
Maybe. But I definitely think that would be a great way to turn Akaza to the dark side. Make him something like a Dark Nut or something. Like because at this point he would completely lose his position. His position is forfeit because someone else has the Master Sword. So he might just completely, what's the word I'm looking for? Defect or no, desert. Completely desert.
He basically goes AWOL and then just quits entirely. So he's like a Kaigaku in essence for a little bit.
Yeah, I'd say that. Although you could also thinking about that, Kaigaku would also very fit with this Kamaboko squad as one of those people there. But
he's just there.
He doesn't burn out as fast as Akaza does because he's not competing with Tanjiro. He's competing with Zenitsu.
Okay.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. So this could, be our opening act, and Ganondorf, as he moves on Dorf, as he's coming back into power, he could corrupt, Akaza into like a Dark Nut or something. I can give you more power. I can give you the power to get back at them, reclaim your position. I can be your king.
And then Akaza gives in.
Yeah.
No, but what if he? No. But here's the thing: like, we could try making him like he became like his soul. He's like one of the. Like, rather, I should say, like, let's try to bring Koyuki into this. Like, we could say like he didn't give in initially, but he only gave in after Koyuki died or some shit like that.
Okay.
Like, you could say like, well, what if as a regular member of the guard, so to speak, he was already engaged with Koyuki, but not because he was a member of guard. Okay. And then, like, after losing the Master Sword, becoming unworthy, he falls into a bit of like a self-made depression. But Koyuki is there to like help him out because he's like, I never cared that you were the hero. I always cared that you were Hakuji, if you will. But then Koyuki, for whatever reason, passes away, and then that's Akaza's moral. Like, I have nothing else now. Like, I don't have the hero position. I don't have my fiance, something like that.
And I think this would be a good mid-story turning point where we could show this if we have a moment where there's an attack on Hyrule Castle Town or something like that, where Koyuki is. And Akaza, of course, he goes out and he fights. And he's like, stay here, you'll be safe. And when he's killed by the demons and stuff, he's, maybe he'll see Tanjiro in the area or something. But, Tanjiro protects Kanao instead or something like that. Who at this point, you wouldn't even think is important because, she's not a royal. And that could be the point where it like breaks Akaza, where he's like, you could have saved the most important person in the world to me because you're the hero, but you saved this nobody.
Dang.
That makes it more tragic in essence. Nice.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. But I think the next place this is, we have our hero, we have them getting the Master Sword. We should probably follow a quest structure. Usually we have, the sages in Ocarina of Time. There's often elemental dungeons, sub dungeons, things like that. They usually follow certain patterns. What do you guys think would be, from your experience with Zelda and stuff, where would you guys want to see Tanjiro go first? And what excuses could we make for him going there?
I don't know anything, but
Oh.
Hey,
Machine Core, you made it.
Welcome, Czar. It's good to see you.
I don't know.
Oh, look, see, like she just appears above us in the background up there.
Yep.
Yep, just mid episode cut. Boop.
I'm a spooky ghost. I'm here. She just comes in.
Ah, a ghost.
No, but yeah. So let's see. So we have the elemental dungeons. I have a suggestion. Since we have the whole idea of Tanjiro being a water breathing, we should just make him go to the water dungeon first. So we could say something along the lines of like
Oh yeah, the
Gyu.
fish poops.
You could say like maybe like he's like he has to find like a man named Gyu, his counterpart, who had gone missing into the dungeon at some point, or at least find what he left him along with, like because Gyu was trying to follow his master Urokodaki after Urokodaki was trying to find like Sabito and everything. We could say something along those lines.
I like that, but here's another thing that came to my mind. What was one of the first demons that Tanjiro fought?
The swamp demon.
Swamp Thing.
Exactly.
Well, technically, he
Oh.
So we
fought
could
Nezuko
say-
first, technically speaking.
Yes, but that's one of the first big demons we see them fight. And I think that actually does make a perfect case for making the first dungeon a small water dungeon, and we could follow that same route. Where, maybe
What if the swamp,
like-
like you know how there's multiple pathways in a dungeon, if anything, like you can go you
Yeah.
find dead ends. What if in the general water dungeon where he still goes in there to try and find like Gyu or Urokodaki, whoever's got lost or like it went in there and never came out, or try to find them or whatever, but he takes a wrong turn and ends up in the swamp miniature boss room, if you will, and he has to fight the swamp demon first.
Maybe. What I was thinking is, first off, do we all agree that if this is a water dungeon, all
Yeah.
the water slayers will all be the water race?
Yes.
Yes. Absolutely.
Oh, Sparta's still here. Good.
And if you pay attention, you'll notice he didn't actually fall asleep.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I just
what I would say is, who do you think would be a better ambassador for the Zora? Gyu or Rokudaki?
Urokodaki, if we're gonna keep,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Gyu would not be a good ambassador. He would probably like his presence would start a war in like seconds. He would say something really rude to the other ambassador on accident, and then everyone would be like, "That's it, that's it."
okay, so here's
Maybe
something.
Gyu is like his apprentice or something.
Well,
Yeah.
here's something. Do we want to make like the entirety of like dungeons, if you will, based off of the breaths? Like if we're saying this is the water dungeon, and then they end up in the swamp room, but then there's also alternates like the flower path, if you will, or the insect path, based off of that. Like because there's multiple paths.
I
for
think
that.
we'll look into that as we go. That's a thought. I was thinking maybe more focus on the demons and how we can incorporate them into the dungeons, if that makes sense.
Oh no, I understand that, but if we're making them about elements, then we have a perfect way to incorporate breaths into this. Especially if we're going to say like Urokodaki and Gyu are the Zora and are involved in the dungeon of elements
Yeah.
itself. Just a thought for later, but I think
Yeah.
it could work.
Because here's where my thoughts are going so far. We say that, the king sends you to meet with Gyu, the apprentice to Orokodaki, because they were supposed to have a meeting and Orokodaki didn't show up. Gyu, this is your introduction to his character. He'll play a more important role later, we'll say. He tells you along the way, Orokodaki ended up going through the swamp with two of his retainers because, Orokodaki is older. So he has Makomo and Sabito with him to kind of protect him.
Oh, that's. Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So then you could say that along the way, you go through this, swamp or something, you find, like either Makomo, Sabito, or Rokodaki, one of the three, and, Tanjiro, and maybe his squad, maybe he's traveling with a crew. They encounter, one of them outside this dungeon, and they're like, something attacked us. It just leaped out of the wall and snatched Rokodaki up. Sabi, like maybe
Oh.
Oh,
Jared and
okay.
tells Sabi, and then tells you Sabito's in there. You gotta help him. And maybe like this first dungeon, you have this wall monster, this Zora who can swim through the walls. Let's say,
And that's the swamp
And-
demon.
yeah, and that could be your first kind of like boss, get you into the things. And along the way, either you find Sabito and either he's dying or he has to become a sage or something. and maybe he gives Tanjiro a new weapon or something, and then you move on, you fight the swamp demon and free Oroku so he can go on and his diplomatic mission.
I'm getting static from somebody. Whose is that?
It's Sparta.
Oh fuck! Hold on.
That's okay, man.
Yes.
As long as you're here.
You think that's a good first dungeon?
Okay, okay, this is much better probably.
Yeah, that's better. That's
Yep.
better.
So what are your guys' thoughts?
Again, I think that's good, but we should. But again, like, are we just gonna say like, since this is like the water area, like if we're, because the thing is in Zelda you can go back to certain places, especially like Breath of the Wild, if you know what I mean, right? So
In certain games, yes.
yeah, so again, like if we follow that whole idea of the demons are in the dungeons, we could also do like there's also the route, like the different routes inside like the different dungeons, like based off the breathing styles.
Well, what I was thinking is, if you specifically look at Ocarina of Time, there
Ocarina. Oh no.
Ocarina, yeah, Ocarina of Time. There were, 2 dungeons for the first 3 elements in the same area, kind of close to each other. So maybe we can follow a route like that, where yes, we have this swamp demon near the Zora domain, but the big water dungeon later, and this is why I mentioned, you might see more of Gyu later, would be in Zora's domain proper. So you do this dungeon, and then later on, there's a bigger issue. You have to go there, and who I would put in the proper water dungeon, because they tend to have the water dungeon become an ice dungeon at times. I would put Duma there.
Okay. I was gonna say like based off of the water dungeon, you could say like there's an alternate flower breathing path that somehow there's like, and like there's a breakage that links the ice portion of it. It's because Doma kills Kanai, breaks into that particular portion, kills it, and then retreats back to his domain. Kind of like that. So like if you can imagine,
I do like that idea.
So like imagine like you're trying, like imagine you're like Kanai's gone. Like they went into the flower dungeon, never came out, and then they searched and they couldn't find it. But what they missed was a crack, or like a small entrance was never actually a crack. It was where Doma intruded by connecting his ice portion of the water dungeon to the flower one by force, and then killed Kanai and slipped away undetected.
And that's an interesting. Or we could even say, wherever Duma's domain is, you need a tool that represents the flower breath or the insect breath to properly. Well, I guess you would need the flower breath to get into it, and that could be like a sub dungeon, because that happens sometimes. For like ice arrows or something.
Yeah.
You have a sub dungeon regarding Kanai, and then in the middle of the ice water dungeon where you're going to fight Duma, you meet Shinobu, and she gives you a tool to help you beat Duma.
We keep Shinobu alive, though, right? No, but the way you made it sounded like it's like, yeah, we're keeping Shinobu alive or something, which I will not.
She could be a sage.
Yes, let's do that.
Doesn't necessarily mean she's alive, but she could be a sage.
I mean, if that's what we're going through, I mean, we could do that as well.
Here's a thought, though. She doesn't have to be the sage of water.
Sage of poison?
Well, I was going to say, she could also be associated with the forest.
The force?
The forest. The sage
I thought you said the force. I'm like, why are you bringing Star Wars into this conversation?
Because I want to talk about that AU too. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, no, the forest. That makes sense. The forest is good.
But, we can get to these ideas more later. I think we should kind of... I feel like the thing we did best with Avatar was, like, we managed to follow a path and kind of, like, sort everything together.
But then we did that. But then again, we also did, depending on, like, where was, at least in that particular path, we followed it, and then we had to go to another episode. So either way, if we're following the demon's path, we should try to go towards Kokushibo next.
Kokushibo.
Kokushibo.
Kokushibo, oh god.
Kokushibo.
Cucked Shibo.
The memes.
Because he got cucked.
In my AU, he is the one who cucks.
Oh,
Sorry,
no.
my Goku stands. I'm so sorry.
Oh no.
Save that for an episode on Savage.
Yes.
We can't hear you a little
Oh,
bit,
great.
Sparta. Sparta.
Snack,
Yeah.
you just gave me a terrible thought.
Okay,
that I'm
there
gonna
we
curse
go.
our-
No, I'm just horrified right now.
Okay.
Kokushibu dressed as Megan the Stallion dancing to Savage.
No.
Ah.
No.
Make the fan
maybe
art happen.
I should have
Oh.
a Megan the Stallion cameo, but moving on.
Moving on.
Fun.
I think the demon you meant to say was Kaigak. No, not Kaigak.
Cuck. You
Oh no.
Kyogai.
cuck guy.
No, but we have
Okay,
to
I'll
put in
stop.
all the demons. Then we did Upper Moon 3, then we did we did the Swamp Demon, then we did Upper Moon 3, then we did Upper Moon 2. We should do Upper Moon 1 to round it out.
Well, that's going in the wrong direction because you jumped ahead to Duma because we were talking about water. But,
Well,
we just let them fight the swamp demon.
No, well, technically we discussed that later, and we kind of jumped to it either way. But we did end up doing that as well. Because we did go from Akaza down to the Swamp Demon now, didn't we?
Well, we started off a Kaza story because, it's a
No, but
long one.
The thing is, we still ended up jumping around with demons. So at this point, it's a little bit moot to point out that we can't. It's not possible. But yeah, let's try to go on anyway.
Yeah, I want to say let's go with Kyogai, and I had an amazing thought when I finally remembered his name. Kyogai's main thing is drums. Do you know what race in Zelda is associated with drums?
The tall ladies.
The Gerudo?
The tall buff ladies.
Are you talking about the Gerudo? I
Um,
see in your head right now.
Like the tall buff ladies who they're tall, they're buff, they have red hair.
Isn't
Those
that
are the Gerudo.
Those are Gerudo?
I love just Snack being like they're tall and they're buff. And they're tall and they're buff. And
She's been writing too much about Saruman. It's okay.
Oh, she would be a Gerudo though.
She would. She would. 100%.
Yeah. Okay, going on.
I was gonna say the Gorons, which is
yeah, the rock
because
peeps.
The first three elements are usually forest, nature, like forest, grass, nature, whatever, fire, and water. So if we have the next dungeon be centered around Kyogai, we could have him be a Goron. And here's a great way to tie that into everything. After Tanjiro takes care of the swamp demon, he comes back. Inosuke is very upset. Inosuke, what's wrong? My family is in danger. And we established Inosuke, raised by the Goron. He tells you there's something wrong with Death Mountain. Because Kyogai has gone wild.
Okay. So Kyogai's gone wild. And we have
I don't know exactly what I'm doing with it yet.
Okay, so Kyogai's gone wild. We have to go put a stop to them, and we're putting it in which particular elemental dojo, or rather dungeon. Shit! I've been playing. I've been playing too much Street Fighter.
Yeah. Well, I said because he's associated with the drums, we can make him a Goron, have him be a part of the we can bring that into the story through Inosuke, who would be raised by the Gorons. And, of course, if we're going into Goron territory, let's discuss some of the fire-associated people who should be Gorons.
All right, some of the fire-associated people who should be Gorons. All right, so do we... Again, if we're going based off of the helper and associated with elements, we could easily put Guillaume as part of a Goron, if anything, or one of the.
I think Guillaume could work as a Goron. I feel there are 3 best case places to put Guillaume.
Yeah, because he's a rock boy.
Yes, So, it's very easy to say, Breath of Stone, he's a Goron. But also, he is Kaguya's right hand, essentially. He is a huge badass. So I think there are three best races for him. He could be a Goron. I'm completely fine with him being a Goron. But I also think you could fit perfectly as a Sheikah or a Gerudo.
I feel like, yeah,
I think he works
Gerudo
well with.
might be more.
No, go for it, Snecht.
Gerudo might be appropriate because, like, they're desert people, and the desert is full of rock. Well, not rocks, but like sand, which is rocks but tiny.
Sands are very fine, precise grains of stone.
Sand is just very fine rocks, and Gyomei is a very fine rock.
Indeed. Very fine.
There's some very fine rock hard abs.
And also the Gerudo, while they don't usually have males, Gerudo women sleep with a lot of people.
Oh my god.
And they're also known for being ripped badasses.
So basically, they're a bunch of Sarumes.
Yes.
Or like Kain.
Mhm.
Just imagine her, like them both being Gerudos, and Sarai just bullies them all the time. Wait, let me search up male Gerudos if they exist.
Technically, that's Ganondorf,
I mean,
though.
Ganondorf.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, he is.
In theory, there are more because they say one's born every 100 years, and that becomes the king of the Gerudo. But we don't hear stories about any other Ganondorfs. So in theory, male Gerudo are possible. And if we have this Ganondorf be someone who's already lived several generations, then you could argue that there's another male.
Well, the thing is,
Alright.
no, but the thing is, every Ganondorf we've seen in the games is technically it's supposed to be the same Ganondorf now, isn't it? Like people.
Oh, actually, yeah, absolutely. They're all the same Ganondorf.
So they're all the same Muzan, but then that would mean like so that would explain why every 100 years it's like the whole superstition behind Muzan reincarnating every so often as a Gerudo.
Well,
Yeah.
okay, so they can intermarry with Hylians though.
Yes,
So like
that's actually their thing.
he could be like mixed.
It could
Yeah.
be that it could be like
True.
what if Gyomei was some sort of mixed hybrid, but the strength came from his Gerudo heritage, which he didn't know
Yeah.
was a thing. Just like he did in canon, he didn't know his strength was a thing until
Yeah.
later.
Yeah.
But he's not a Gerudo in appearance, though. Like that's the only thing. Because I feel like
Maybe he's a little tanner.
no, I mean like in terms of body structure, more or less, comparatively to whatever he's interbreeding with.
But anyway, back to Gorons. I mean, we have the three.
Goron.
The Rengoku's obviously are Gorons. It's too easy. Who else? Do we want to make anyone else a Goron?
Yeah, you just might as well just make their entire clan a Goron then. The entire Rengoku
Yeah.
clan.
Yeah.
Which speaking of which, I never understood. Like this is why in like my fanfiction I always use Kyojuro instead of Rengoku because technically speaking, that's the family, not the individual, so to speak.
I was talking about the Rengoku family.
Okay, I thought you meant like just I thought you were being like the whole it's Kyojo, and I'm like yeah. So what about the rest of them? There's too many people put that in their
I'm
fanfiction.
always very specific about the name because like I know most people just call him Rengoku, but it's also like, well, there's 3 of them.
4 of them. Technically, Ruka's one.
Well, 5 if you count the ancestor. You want to keep going?
It's like in Bleach when they call like the Kuchiki siblings by their last name. It gets confusing.
Yeah.
Honestly, actually, can I just say one thing about like canon? Like you know how Gyomei during the Hashira meeting says like we can't make anyone fight besides those who have lost their families and those of observed pedigree. Like, who besides Rengoku is of observed pedigree in slaying? We don't ever see that. So why the hell is it mentioned?
Oh, the Tokitos.
No, but they technically weren't for generations. No, they may have been descended, but they were woodcutters for a long time.
Probably we just haven't seen it. Like, there are probably other families of slayers, but we have not seen them before. They could be slayers from Hashira. So like
And also, I just want to say, Zenitsu is not listed as having lost any family to demons.
I think wasn't he abandoned as a kid though?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I do think that that opens up the definition of pedigree because he was selected by a pillar.
No, but they addressed that in the novels, bro. That's because the pillar saw him like about to be in debt with a bunch of people, and he's like, you know what, I'll pay you off. You know, because they're like more or
Yes,
less.
but I'm just saying pedigree doesn't necessarily have to be by blood. It could be, by pedigree they're referring to, you have to be within the pillar family. If you are adopted by a pillar, you can be trained to be a slayer even if you haven't lost anyone.
We think in Gyome adoption by his master.
Well, Guillaume, he lost his children, essentially.
No, but in like the whole thing, like he was taught. Let's say he was taught by like a Hashira. Anyway, yeah, okay, we've gone off topic enough. My
We're
bad.
getting off track. Shit. Yeah, right.
Callie,
So-
where are you, man? Where we need you?
Oh, I know.
Trying to think of Gorons. There's two other people who could or could not be Gorons. Because there's two other people who were part of the Rengoku family or trained by the Rengoku family.
Mitsuri.
And Obanai.
Obanai
So
being okay. I feel like wouldn't Obanai be closer to water though, because he's a snake user?
Yes. But he was raised with the Rengoku family. So that opens up some, potentials and questions. So, is he a Zora? Does he live in the Zora's domain? Is he a Goron? Does he live on Death Mountain? Maybe he's an ambassador because he's a Zora who was raised on Death Mountain. And it could be fun to even see that because, it could just be, you have this one cool spring on Death Mountain and they're like, what's with this one pond of water? And it's just like Open Eye pops out. He's like, get the fuck away from me.
Just the pond of water is just steaming. They're like, why the hell is it steaming? And it's like, it just popped up. Like, get out. I don't know, because no, he's a Goron in the water. I feel like the water would be steaming.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying he could be a Zora on Death Mountain.
Oh, okay. Okay, so that makes okay. I think I can see that.
And I feel like it would also work if you say that Inosuke and Obanai were both raised by the Rengoku. They're this big Goron family that tends to take in orphans. So they have their Hylian child in Inosuke, who rather than wear and runs around covered in rocks. And then they have Dora child.
The normal child. I mean, imagine Obanai and Inosuke being siblings, though. That would be wild time.
I don't know. I thought we were gonna make
Taking the
Kaigaku
beast.
as siblings though, because technically Kaigaku was adopted by Gyome beforehand.
Was he?
No, but he was.
Oh,
Remember?
Yeah.
So that means
You could
Obanai.
make that a thing.
So that means Obanai, Inosuke, and Kaigaku are all siblings. Oh my goodness.
Wait, no, because Gyome didn't adopt them. The Rengokus did.
No, but they're all like adopted into the race. They're all race families or whatever you want to call them, or some shit like that.
I think I see what you're talking about now. Yeah. Although I think for this AU, I might say that Jigoro is like an old knight who takes care of his like two adopted children who he raised to be knights, Kaigaku and Zenitsu.
Okay.
But
so now then,
getting back on track. So we say we have Mitsuri, Kyojuro, Shinjiro, and Senjiro are 4 Gorons.
Ruka has unfortunately passed away, sadly.
No.
No, we have Ruka as a Rengoku. Ruka's a Rengoku too.
Yeah.
So then that makes
Who did you say?
Ruka, Kyojuro and Senjuro's
Oh,
mom,
right.
Shinjuro's wife. Have you
Now,
read KNY?
yes,
Oh
I just
my
didn't hear what you
God.
said, bitch.
Takes one to know one.
Fair enough.
Oh, guys.
So I have two ideas for what we could do here with Kyogai. We can either make Kyogai the person who killed Ruka, or we can make Kyogai kidnap Senjuro.
Kidnapping Sandro, I think, would be the better thing. I don't
Yeah.
see
We
him
do not
like
condone
actually
kidnapping in this Discord in real life.
Yes, or kidnapping.
Yeah, I just seen like this comic where like Sandro gets kidnapped and Mitsuri and Rengoku and Obanai react. And then Rengoku is like, I'll kill you. And Obanai is like, you little bitch, why did you kidnap Senjuro? And Mitsuri is like, how dare you kidnap Senjuro, you meanie. So I thought that was what made me think like kidnapping.
Yeah. But I feel, it could be a small fire dungeon, It's just Kyogai has his funky place, and you'll occasionally hear him play the drums, and the entire place will just shift around, and it makes like a small dungeon to explore. And when you confront him, he's just like, "How dare the Rengokus try and cast me out of Death Mountain? I am the greatest musician that has ever lived. I'll show you. I've been given this magic power." Stuff like that.
Okay. So that's Kyogai's modus operandi, alright.
Swamp Demon doesn't get any modus operandi because, well, did he get any in the canon?
No, not really. So okay, so now we've done Kyogai. The next one we have, unless now I think we go to what Tamayo and Yushiro are, because based on following the manga.
Or should I'm willing to make an exception here because when I think that would be the best mid arc point where we could show the attack on Castletown.
Okay, so then do you want to continue with which demons or what?
Well, I was gonna say we go to Rui next. We have, a fight in the forest, maybe. Maybe that's where we find Kanao. And, after fighting Rui, protecting the forest, we bring her back to Castletown, where we meet Yushiro and Tamayo, who kind of explain the history of things. And that's when, once Muzondorf sees that Kanao is in the open and taken out of the Kokiri forest, they're like, oh, this is the person I've been looking for. That's when he attacks Castletown, and that's when Koyuki dies.
Oh, okay. Okay. I see what you mean. If you're going for the mid attack on Castletown as your midpoint. So is that when you want to introduce Tamayo and Yushiro then?
Yeah.
Okay, so then before that, do we want to include any other moons or any other demons besides Rui, of course?
No, I think Rui would be good, because if you look at Ocarina of Time, the first dungeon, the first enemy in the Kakariko Forest is Goma, the spider. So you could have Rui be like the Skulltula King or something, and he's attacking the Great Deku Tree or something like that. It's classic.
All right.
And
and the Spider Family are his like lieutenants, right?
Yeah, they're just essentially going to be like your big Skulltulas.
Okay.
That just are like all over the area. And I think you could have Aoi or someone like that be the Kokiri Korok ambassador to the king. Maybe they come in, they're like, we're under attack, there's all these spiders, we need help. Either Kana or Shinobu and Kanao are fending them off as well as they can. We could keep Kanai alive at this point and have her die later. Kaduma.
No, how dare you?
Oh no.
Just saying.
There's not an AU where she can stay alive, except for mine.
Well, the thing is, if we want to keep Shinobu tomboy, then we can keep Kanai alive. We don't. But the thing is, if we want the Shinobu we've seen in canon, then we can't keep Kanai alive.
That's true. You should get it halfway, maybe. As Shinobu gets older, she becomes less of a tomboy.
Again, this is why in Cyberpunk, doing the whole idea of keeping a digital like AI of Kanai in
just like
life is the reason why we can have like a Shinobu who is a bit tomboyish and still Shinobu from canon in essence.
Same thing.
One thing I do want to say though is the Kokiri are often presented as very childlike. They're much happier creatures. So, maybe keeping Kanai alive kind of fit into that a little bit better. Maybe we should have tomboyish Shinobu.
Okay, she's still a sage then.
Yeah.
Okay. Who's
And then once
echoing?
again,
I'm hearing my echo on somebody.
Oh, that's me.
Damn you, Snacked.
Dang it,
Oh,
man.
boy.
I mean, it's fine. It's fine. I just wanted to know, like, am I just hearing things? Have I finally gone crazy from spending so much time with you all, or or is it actually something going on?
Well, I mean, we don't exist, so yes, you're crazy.
Nothing exists. Everything is false. Remember, you heard it here, everybody.
Nothing is true.
Everything is permitted.
This is not a tease for a future episode.
It's confirmation, that's why. It's not a tease if it's confirmed.
Confirmation. Only your bias is confirmation.
All right, so but
That's
anyway,
the next one.
yeah, but no,
but yeah, so I'd say Kokiri Forest, Rui and his spiders, attack the Great Deku Tree. Someone calls for help. Maybe Kanai goes in. Shinobu's a little afraid to go in. Teases for later.
Okay, quick
after Kanai.
Hold on. Quick disclaimer: when we say Deku Tree, we're not talking about the Deku from My Hero Academia. That just sounds like it from my perspective. Okay, it's not that.
I'm just imagining a giant tree being like, "It's a smash!" Boom.
Oh, I just imagined the tree with Deku's hair. I mean, it's green, it's puffy in a bunch of directions, so it could work.
I want to see a Photoshop of the Great Deku Tree from Ocarina of Time with Deku from My Hero Academia's face on it.
Hold on, let me see if I can find it.
All right, while you're at that, wherever you do, don't look up Deku's nuts.
What? Why would you give people that idea?
Wait, what?
Well, because there's Deku nuts in the Zelda games. Anyway, maybe Kanai goes in because it's like her job to protect the Deku Tree. Kanai goes in. That's
God damn it! It actually exists. What the heck?
Post in the chat right
Hold
now.
on. There's one where it's just there's one where there's two which are drawings, which is what I was imagining, and then there's one where they just put Deku's face over it.
Stretch B.
Hold on. All right, hold on. Give me a second. I'll post all three of them. Why not? Okay. This one just seems like a lazy one. This one here just seems like what you would actually think. Give me 1 second. 1 second.
Oh, the memes. I love them.
I've been saying.
What are you saying, Snack?
Does this mean we should one day do a My Hero and Zelda episode?
Listen, I love the expand dong memes so much. Like, what those memes
are. Some of these memes are great. But let's stay on track and not let the memes get too far. Okay, the one you just posted is exactly what I wanted.
And then there's this one.
Okay. Anyway, I'd say you meet Kanao in the tree. She gives you the situation on Kanai. You go and you rescue Kanai. Kanai tells you, I'm supposed to be the Sage of Forest. That's why I protect the Deku Tree. And that's why it's axed later. But, as you take Kanao out, you could have the Deku explain. Oh God, that we're gonna need a linked up for all these memes.
I mean, they're on the recording, so they'll be fine. I mean, you can just look up Deku Tree. That's fine.
Yeah. Um,
Oh no!
the
What have we
great
what have we
Deku Tree
unleashed? Oh no!
Oh dear God. I can't.
I'm sorry. I'm very sorry.
Where's
Why?
Callie when you need her?
Why, Sparta?
The Deku Tree could explain to Kanao that she is a Hylian. Call back to Ocarina of Time. I keep saying Ocarina. I'm sorry. It's a killer flute.
When
Whatever.
you say Orcarina, I'm just thinking of the orcs from traditional RPGs, and I'm like, why are you going into that? This is not that. Link is not
No,
traditional.
I'm thinking of like an orca whale, but as an ocarina. An orcarina.
Dang orca.
So we have orca ballerinas, basically.
Now I'm picturing orcs doing ballet. Congratulations.
You're welcome. No, but yeah, so but anyway, where were we? Where were we? I can't remember now. We got so off track. Oh no.
You guys were talking about the Deku Tree in Kanao.
Okay, thanks, Snecht.
Let's be honest though. How intimidated would you be to see an army of orcs dancing across the field, axes raised high, in pink tights, ballet slippers?
No, please no.
No. Oh God.
I don't know if I would be intimidated or impressed more.
Or both.
I don't know.
Guys.
I would just do ostrich and just hide my head in the sand.
They don't actually do that, you know.
Basically.
Guys, Kanao, Deku Tree. What are they gonna do about it?
Oh no. You good there, DCC?
I'm recovering. So, let's say Kanao confirmed to be a Hylian. You kind of get the story. So Kanao's like, "Can you take me to the city? I want to know who I am. I want to hear my story." So you head to these two lead researchers, Tamayo and Yushiro. But the second she leaves the safety of the, Kokiri forest, her magic can be felt. Presence of Hylia kind of rings out. And Muslandorf is like, "Well, I got a bitch to kill. You, go for it."
Okay, and then he's telling that to. No, but this is before the attack on Castletown, so Kaz is not the bitch. Okay, so yet. Anyway, so who would he send anyway? You send Doma and who else?
Well, no. I mean, think about it. Who did he send to kill Tanjiro?
Oh, he sent Yahaba and Susumaru.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I think Susumaru would make a great Goron, but maybe Ruto. Yahaba, I'm leaning Zora, but no, Rito. Let's do Rito for Yahaba.
I don't know. I was thinking Susumaru was going to be that weird hybrid because she's got the 6 arms, just like the spiders, and then she's got like the brawn, if anything, of a Goron. So we could do that.
Maybe like a 2-arm, like a 4-arm Goron, but I feel like if you lean too far into the spider route after you just killed the spider guy, it's kind of weird.
I mean, true enough. Okay, so then, alright, fine, but maybe a 4-armed Goron is probably more appropriate.
It's believable enough to me, especially, with magic and stuff. We have seen Gorons and other races transform into weird things, so she could be just, like a demonic female Goron with an extra set of arms.
Alright, that's fine.
Yeah.
Alright, so then we've gotten to Castletown. We had the attack. Koyuki is unfortunately killed in this, and then that's why Akaza turns. Rest in peace, Koyuki. I'm sorry. And then we start the next act of the chapter. And being as it's 1 hour, I say we continue that in another episode.
Indeed, we do.
I was thinking the same thing. I just want to, because we've given a lot of these characters specific magics, except for who are just like, oh, he's the King Skulltula. He's a Skulltula. It works.
Uh-huh.
For Yahaba, if we say he's a Rito, we could give him something like Rivali's Gale, which would fit kind of with what he had in canon, where you can kind of, just control the winds.
Yeah, okay. All right, so that would work, but I think that's more addressed on another episode. So, to everybody watching, thanks for joining us, and hope to see you for part 2 of Zelda.
Well,
and more
one
than
last thing.
Okay, I just did the outro, and now you want to do
It's-
it? Come on. All right, go for it. But that's the last time. I have to redo the outro after that.
This is the last thing. Are we just gonna leave Nezuko on the sidelines here?
Well, we left Kokushibo on the sidelines now, didn't we?
He's in the background. He hasn't been introduced yet. He's gonna be like Phantom Ganon.
Oh yeah.
So is he like the final boss, the final boss?
Mm-hmm.
No, Muzan-Dorf is the final boss.
Oh no, I thought we were gonna pull like an Uno reverse and make it so like he's the final boss, like which most of the fandom said he was more like than Muzan at the end of the day, because they're like, oh, the whole Muzan fight was drawn out, unnecessary. Who knows? But anyway,
Sar just gave me a great idea. Do you guys see that in chat?
Linkle?
Oh,
that's a good. Or we could, like, Tanko could be Linkle or Nezuko.
Yeah. That could actually be a really good way to fit Nezuko in and just make her Linkle.
Okay, I didn't think of that. But yeah,
no one thought of that. Zara,
Yeah.
This is why we're happy to have you around. Fantastic art and great ideas.
Doesn't matter if you can't speak. You get the ideas across anyway. So thank you. But anyways,
I'm confident wrapping up the episode.
Okay, so now here is the final outro. Everybody, is my time.
Wait.
Awkward silence. Yes, I knew that was coming, but I said, like, you know what? Let's humor it. Let's humor it, I said. But anyways, thank you everybody for watching this episode of The Breath of Fiction, and we hope you enjoyed it, and hope you join us again for part 2. That's been me, Rad, otherwise Core, otherwise known as Stress's Desserts. And if anyone has any final thoughts aside from DCC, because you already used yours, let's hear it now. Snect, anything? Okay, Sparta, anything?
I mean, I haven't really played any Legend of Zelda games, so this is a brand new experience for me. But it sounds really interesting.
All right, maybe you can play some on during the whole downtime. But hey, let's find out.
I personally think if we were gonna also do the CDI version, Gilmy should be King Harkinian. He just fits that vibe. I'm sorry, that's my last thought.
All right. Anyway, I have nothing more to add. So okay, but we'll possibly address that in the next part, the 2-parter. All right, but from us to you watching us, thanks for joining us, and we hope to see you next time. So bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.